Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Horace Filbourn Presents It's Friday, starring Rachel Play, Amy Freer, and Michael Wyatt, with our very special guest, Shawna Annable. And now let's give it up for Rachel, Amy, and Michael.
Sludge leaves. Animal.
Oh, that's Horace.
Okay.
I think we're live.
Oh, great.
Welcome to Horace Filbourn Presents It's Friday. I'm Michael Happy Beans Wyatt.
I'm Jubilant Tuna Rachel Play.
And I'm Good Rice Amy Freer.
Just want to welcome you to the show. We're so excited for this second episode and our very, very special guest. But Jubilant Tuna, how has your week been going since we talked last?
You know, my week's been going great. I forget what day it is usually, except I know it's always Friday.
TGIF.
Exactly.
But this week's been pretty great. You know, I've gotten some roller skating in. The farm's garlic is coming up well. And we've had some really amazing meals. So this is a good week. How's your week been, Happy Beans?
You know, my week's been pretty good. We got some dirt. And remember, it was one of my must-haves last week. So I got it this week. And it was everything I could have hoped and more. The backyard smells like poop a little bit, but I think that's a good thing. Good for the plants. But overall, been pretty good. Using the old Zooms. Getting out. Right now I'm in this beautiful abandoned restaurant because no one's here. You know, just trying to get out and sneak around without coming into human contact with people. It's been fun.
Sorry to interrupt, but is that one of Horace's restaurants? Is that the one that was set to open in downtown Philly?
Yeah, he sent me here to check out the place, and he said to help myself to a drink or two, and so I decided to show off a little bit of Horace's wonderful.
I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, good times. What about you, Good Rice?
Oh, things are so good here. Staying in. Zach's been baking some bread, and he hasn't been happy with some of the loaves yet, but I had some last night, and he said it didn't rise enough, but I really liked it. It was really nice and thick and chewy, and Zach said I like it because it's peasant food. Maybe that was a nice way of saying I was European. You know, it's domestic relationships are thriving, I think, under the current circumstances, right?
I mean, I've taken to wearing Peter's underwear.
Are laundromats open right now?
I don't know. We tend to hand wash, you know. We like to know what's going into our clothes.
Rach, I saw on Facebook you asked the Facebook world for recommendations for non-electric clothes washing machines.
I mean, isn't that what's on everyone's mind right now?
And then someone posted a link to a washboard, and you were very funny, but isn't that your option? You were baiting us a little bit on that.
I mean, I will let you believe that. I in earnest was looking for a foot powered non-electric washing machine.
So you're looking for a foot powered one. You don't have one already.
No, we don't. We can wash things in bathtubs, but I would like to have a foot one, so when I watch Grace and Frankie, I don't have to. I can get my exercise in while I watch it.
Is it like a bicycle?
No, it's just a little box.
There's
little foot pedals, but there's tons of different ones, and there are bicycle ones, but they're larger than we can have in our apartment.
That makes sense. That's kind of cool. All right, I'm sorry for making fun of you.
All right, okay. I don't know about you guys, but my must-have this week is seeds.
Seeds? Like for eating or planting?
For planting. So I don't like to go to the grocery store. I like to make money, and I like to see experiments happen. So I've been growing a lot more vegetable seeds than I normally do at my farm. Normally it's all garlic. But this year I decided, hey, why not spice things up a bit by having some hot pepper, some winter squash, some green beans.
Green beans.
They're delicious. You snap them off, chew them up. Instant food. So I have to say that seeds are my must-have.
I'd say my must-have for this week that I've been gobbling up would have to be a very old and flavorful balsamic vinaigrette. I feel like you can put it on lettuces, you can soak some hearty, thick bread in it, probably that Zach bread, the peasant food. It probably soak up that balsamic so beautifully and give you such flavor, and it's beautiful. Put a little herbs in it, maybe add a little extra virgin olive oil to it, and you have yourself a meal. So balsamic.
Last night we ate the peasant bread with some really good balsamic vinegar.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's my must-have.
My must-have of the week. Last night I watched my new favorite movie of 2019, which would be Pain and Glory, which is a film by Pedro Almodovar. If you like bright colors and you want to see Antonio Banderas be all sweet and nice and sad and sweet, in my opinion, it's my favorite movie of 2019. Other people might have their own opinions about what my favorite movie of 2019 was, but in my opinion, it was my favorite movie of 2019.
Beautiful. Well, you know what we must have every week? The newest Horace Filbourn novel.
Oh.
He dropped another one late last night, and I got a sneak peek once again. So the newspaper reviews aren't even out yet, but here's my quick take on the book. The book is called Unconscionable Instincts. By day, Alistair Winford is a 1-hour photo booth attendant, but at night he becomes a character actor at Ohio's largest 24/7 fantasy immersive Renaissance fair experience. Alistair is living out his amazing dream life until tabloid-shamed ex-port star Paul Walters falls from the sky in a parachute stunt gone awry and crushes not only Alistair's pelvis, but also his dreams of one day becoming president of the Renaissance Fair. Now, Alistair and Paul have to share a hospital room, and as they recover, where they will work on mending not only their bones, but also their demented male egos. Based on a true story, this epic adventure is filled with twists and turns that will keep you guessing and always wonder if there will even be a next page. Well, it's amazing. Stimulated my mind beyond words. Once again, he knocked it right out of the park.
Now it's time for the basic news of the day.
Celebrity gossip. Well, this week, the big gossip is all the stars are on quarantine. So it's been kind of quiet. But even though it's been real quiet, I still dug up 2 fun tidbits for you. First of all, Sir Mix-a-Lot, his old phone number went public. So now the poor chump who has Sir Mix-a-Lot's old number keeps getting dirty booty calls. You guys remember Pamela Anderson? I mean, who could forget her, really? But Pamela Anderson believes that her dog committed suicide because it didn't like her ex-lover. We are going to have our special guest later.
Time for weather. Nice and cloudy outside. There was a little bit of a breeze today. The sun was out earlier, but everything's still growing because of the sunshine and the rain we had earlier in the week, and it's okay that the clouds have stopped by now. On to you, sports.
Since sports have been canceled, we've decided to take things down to a more primal level and check out what's in nature.
Oh look, today we find 2 northeastern pegging sparrows in the wild. Oh look, the female mounts. Ooh, looks like she got shooken off. Oh, here she goes again for the home run, and she mounts and dismissed! Oh well, looks like it's not gonna happen today, friends. But that's the fine world of nature sports for you. Back to you, Michael.
Basically, that's the news. And now,
For a word from our sponsor.
Ant Pat's all-purpose fungal powder. If you have any musty, dark places where a spore might fester, sprinkle on some Ant Pat's. Mold, mildew, and fungus has no chance among us when you use Ant Pat's. And from Rusty Cullen's slightly used escape ladders, providing you with a variety of Hughes safety products since 1969. Trust a Rusty ladder; they'll never let you down.
And buds in a greening world.
what?
Joy.
Hey, and we're back. We're back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to Horace Filbourn Presents It's Friday. We have an amazing guest with us today, a good friend of the show. Please help me welcome Shawna Annable.
Hi. Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
What have you been up to the past few weeks?
Oh, the past few weeks I've been catching up on a lot of sleep, like 15, 16 hours a day, just sleeping. So I'll give you guys like a little sample of basically what my day is like. So I go to bed at around 10 p.m. I wake up at about 9:30 a.m. I put some clothes on, and then I kind of just,
Look out the window.
Do you see any birds?
Yeah. I've seen a couple birds out there. I've seen some orioles. I saw a cardinal a couple weeks ago. Also, some people that live near me, I don't know what is going on over there, and they hung these they hung this sign in the front of their house that I don't know what it is. I don't recognize the language, but they sing in their backyard, and they got something going on, and the neighbors next to me.
What movies have you been watching?
Some of the recent movies that I watched Hereditary, Tiger King documentary recently.
Oh, how do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on that?
I have thoughts.
I love it.
Shawna, do you have any? You got any big plans tonight?
My friend let me borrow a couple of books. There's The Secret History by Donna Tartt.
Did she write The Goldfinch?
I think so, yeah. And the other book is A Word for Love with Emily Robbins.
Horace says he'd like you to read his book sometime. He's going to send you an autographed copy. So now, Shawna, we have a segment called Fall in Love with Shawna. So you might have heard of the New York Times questions, 36 questions to fall in love with somebody. We figure that it's going to be so easy to fall in love with you. You only needed 10 or 12 of them before all of our viewers would love you. And Michael, would you like to start it off with question number 1?
Shawna, what movie person would you most want to make a movie with? And what movie person would you least want to make a movie with?
Probably be either the Coen brothers or Roger Deakins, just because of how legendary they are. And the person that I would least want to make a movie with, I think is pretty easy. It would be Harvey Weinstein. Tom Cruise would be a close second.
Speaking of famous people, Shawna, question number 2, would you like to be famous? And if so, in what way?
I would like to be famous, and I would like to be famous for being a really good person.
Before making a telephone call, do you rehearse what you're going to say? And if so, why?
So right before I make a telephone call, I don't, but in every single second of the day between phone calls and conversations with people, I do have a running conversation in my head of what I would say if somebody says this.
Shawna, what would constitute the perfect day for you?
A perfect day for me would be 65 degrees, half clouds, half sun, in and out, a little bit of breeze, probably in a park somewhere with nice green grass that you could lay in, no shoes, a picnic, and I don't know, maybe some.
All right, Shawna. When did you last sing to yourself?
Maybe like last week.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
When's the last time you sang to someone else?
Directly to someone else?
You sang at my birthday, right?
I sang happy birthday, I'm sure.
Did you sing karaoke?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So if you're able to live to the age of 90 and either retain the body or the mind of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which one would it be? The body or the mind?
Gut says body, but my brain says also brain.
Yeah, your brain's just trying to save itself.
That is exactly what's going on. My whole being is fighting right now, and the body's like, no, you want the body, and the brain is like, no, bitch, you want the brain.
Shawna, what in your life do you feel most grateful for?
Honestly, I feel really grateful for the opportunity to wake up every day in a healthy body and be able to move through the world with very few barriers.
Shawna, if you could wake up having gained any magic power, what would it be?
Can I go back in time? Is that a superpower?
So Shawna, what do you value most in friendship?
Mostly people that are authentic.
So, Shawna, what's your most treasured memory?
For a long time in my life, I thought that I had this dream that I was in this like lodge in the woods, and it was just like a pool and lots of windows and lots of like golden light. And for so long in my life that I thought it was a dream. And then a couple years ago, I was looking through some photos, and my mom found some like new photos of me, my grandpa, and them. And I was like a little baby, and we were sitting in this pool in this lodge that he used to work at, and it was like the exact memory that I had, like as a little baby, and it was just like beautiful sunlight coming in the windows, and my grandpa was holding me in the pool, and I was just being a little baby, and it was very interesting. I think about that memory a lot, and I would say that I do treasure that memory.
Would you please tell us what you love about Horace?
Yes, I really admire Horace's towel manufacturing capabilities. I've always thought that.
We have one more question. Your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save one item. What would that one item be and why?
Maybe I would just not risk going back into the house.
Wait, what about your phone?
Yeah, I guess I have to make sure I have my phone.
Horace is telling me it's time to move on to the game. All right, so now we're going to play a game with you, Shawna. Shawna!
Oh, what? Sorry, there's a tabby cat out there.
We're going to be playing a role-playing game. This is a game, it's called For the Queen. The land you live in has been at war for as long as any of you have been alive. The Queen has decided to undertake a long and perilous journey to broker an alliance with a distant power. The Queen has chosen all of you, and no one else, to be her retinue and accompany her on this journey. She chose you because she knows that you love her. So just take a good look. That's our queen, everyone. I'll just start with these questions. And I'm going to start with Happy Beans. Happy Beans, what makes the queen beautiful?
Is her intelligence. When she's talking to you, it's like her mind is already 7 steps ahead.
Grateful Bon Me, the queen lights a fire in you. What is it?
Those abs.
Okay, Jubilant Tuna, it's getting juicy. You sometimes think you might be the queen's favorite. Why? And why does this worry you?
Well, it worries me that I'm going to fall out of favor. Because right now, I'm sleeping in the queen's bed. She's taken me as her lover, and I have nowhere else to go.
All right, my question. The queen thinks more highly of me than I think of myself. How do I know this? She not only sees what I've done, which everyone can see, but she sees deeper. And I think she thinks something good in my soul. So, Happy Beans, what did you bring with you to protect the queen on this journey?
Poison. I just brought a lot of poison because anyone who tries to get too close to her will get the poison.
Grateful Bon Me, what do you usually do for the royal family? And why does that make you an unusual choice for this journey?
I have undying loyalty. I'm a Taurus. So when the queen picked me up from the side of the road and I saw the sun glinting off of those abs, I just kind of knew.
But you were just picked off the street. That's why it's a little unusual that you're here. Jubilant Tuna, what is something you do for the royal family that has prepared you well for this journey?
She keeps me by her side, and I feed us all.
Okay, here's my question. There is a false rumor about me and the queen back at the royal court. What is it? How did it start? There's been a rumor that we are, out in the world collecting exotic animals to turn into fashion.
It's lovely. Grateful Bon Me, you are considered beautiful by almost everyone you meet. How does the queen make you question that perception?
Sometimes she'll say just like little comments that seem kind of like minor, or like criticisms at first, but over time they start to build and you start to question your self-worth.
Jubilant Tuna, yeah! The queen sometimes shows interest in your personal life. How do you respond to that? Why? We share a room, we share a bed, we share a life. But I have a life outside of our life. And I think that she's just a little possessive. I mean, she's used to being a queen, and I can't really compete with that. I have a question now. I arranged for the queen to be ambushed on this journey. What did they offer me? I need baby seal pelts, and I need them now. I just want to live in a world where a kid like me can rule the world, and I can wear a coat made of baby animals. Happy beans! You saved the queen's life once. How?
One time, she took me on a journey with her as her horse boy, and I decided to bring with me my favorite pet snake. And when the snake bit the badger, it killed the badger because my snake is poisonous.
Grateful. Well, everyone, the queen is under attack. Do you defend her? Start with Grateful Bon Me.
Yes, because she's the only queen that I have.
Jubilant Tuna, do you defend her?
Of course. You know, she's the smartest, she's the wickedest, she's the swiftest queen in the area. And she's the one that I'm going to step up behind.
You know, I was just going to kind of stand back, and I did see that, like, the only thing left between the queen and the anti-monarchist was our very own Happy Beans, so...
You know, after realizing all I've done for her and how she psychologically manipulated me my whole life and basically forced me to love her, so you know what, I feel like the poison may be in the other chalice now.
So that's the end of the game.
I poisoned her.
So that's the end of the game. Queen did not make it. Although she had a sweet, sweet lover in our gardener, Jubilant Tuna, and although her abs were much admired by the woman she pulled off the street, Grateful Bon Me, she couldn't compete with the capitalist hopes and dreams of good rice. And ultimately, she underestimated Happy Beans and couldn't see beyond his bastarddom, and that was her downfall.
All right, so now on the show, we want to welcome a very special correspondent, Naomi Great Applesauce Wyatt. Round of applause. She is here to talk with our guest, Shawna, about something very near and dear to their hearts, their favorite animals.
Naomi, can you tell me a little bit about the peacock?
Boy peacocks, they have wings that are colorful. And when it opens it attracts girls to marry them.
Did you know that Peter asked me to marry him in a field of peacocks?
All right, that doesn't sound true.
I think peacocks really influence people to get married. That was in a science journal that we read earlier today. One animal that I have done a lot of research on is cats of all sizes. Big cats and little cats. And something that I've learned is that cats always land on their feet. The last animal that we talked about was a bird. What are your guys' favorite kinds of birds?
My kinds of birds is a peacock. It's a kind of bird, but it just takes a short flight.
My favorite type of bird is just the plain old chicken. You can't get better than a chicken.
Chickens are pretty great birds. The only reason chickens can't fly is because they're so fat. And if they just lost a little bit of weight, chickens would just fly away.
Why you gotta body shame like that, Shawna?
Well, I mean, you know, there's healthy chicken and then there's like unhealthy chicken. And if they just lost a little bit of weight, we probably wouldn't be eating so much chicken because they could just fly away.
To some very dubious animal facts here.
Wait, Horace is calling in. Amy, he wants to talk to you.
I don't even.
Oh yeah. No, my favorite bird is the emperor penguin, of course.
Okay, Michael, so tell us about your favorite bird.
I think my favorite bird would have to be like a blue heron. Like a blue heron, like with the really long legs. Elegant and graceful, and I feel like they're underrated.
My favorite bird is a cardinal. I really like the cardinals because of their colors and because they can fly away from their problems and make nests. We haven't finished our cardinal research yet, but just in the little bit of research that we've done, I have really fallen in love with them.
And on the count of 3, both of you say an animal. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Giraffe.
Look at that. Well, Naomi, thank you for being such an awesome guest on our show. One more round of applause for our guest correspondent, Naomi.
Hey. Thank you.
Hi, Naomi. Who's Shawna? Oh, Shawna. Hi. Hi.
Yeah. Hey.
I was wondering if you'd be up for an art project.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, like, my fingers are awfully tired from doing a lot of. So how about we give our toes a little try? And I'd love to see a self-portrait done of you with your, like, using your toes instead of your fingers. And all we need is a piece of printer paper.
Yeah.
And Sharpies. We're going to start off with a self-portrait. And, you know, start with whatever color you want. I give you full expression to go, like, color, monochrome, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
But you're going to want to place the pen between your toes. What color are we starting off with?
I think, like, kind of like a fuchsia. Well, I'm an awful drawer with my hands, so maybe I'll be a little bit better with my feet. But I think I'm going to start with just the general face shape.
One little tip about oval faces, they can get away with almost any type of eyeglass shape.
I thought you were going to say crime.
I've gotten away with all the crime in my life so far, too, so.
Oh, Shawna, while you're trying, how about you tell us what you've gotten away with?
In high school, I got away with, I wouldn't call it arson. I forgot exactly what they called it.
Please tell us this story.
This is going to be a very impressionistic photo. We had a substitute teacher who was like, just like a total like space case. You could really do whatever you wanted in her class. That day for a substitute, we went to the computer lab. That day, I had extra homework that I needed to do. So I didn't want to go to the computer lab. So I stayed behind in the classroom while everybody else went to the computer lab. I stayed there for a little while. I did my work, or I got bored, I forget. And I decided to join the rest of the class in the computer lab. So before I left, I thought I would play like a prank on the teacher. And I put a student handbook inside of the microwave that was in the class, and I turned it on. And I just wasn't thinking very clearly about what was actually going to happen. I thought there would just be like a little bit of smoke in the room, not really considering where smoke comes from. And I walked out of the class, and we went to a very big high school. So their two schools were connected by like a catwalk. I started walking over to the other building, and I ran into a friend who I knew, and I told him what happened. And the first thing he said to me was, that's gonna burn. And I was like, oh my God, you're totally right. So I ran back to the classroom, and this was only like a minute or two later, maybe a couple minutes. I ran back to the classroom. I looked through the little window on the door, and the room was totally filled with smoke. And I was freaking out. I ran in. I grabbed the book out of the microwave. It was on fire, and I threw it into the waste bin, like right next to the this is dry erase. And I threw it right into the waste bin. And I walked across the hallway to the class that was across the hall, and I knocked on the door and was just like, yeah, I think somebody started a fire in this like classroom. Or not someone started, I think I just said, I think there was a fire in this classroom next to like across the hall. And he was like, oh my gosh, and he called the administration. I was able to convince all of my classmates to keep their mouths shut. For a couple days that worked, and I had some very awkward moments where like stories came out, and my friends, like I was at my friend's house once, and he was like, Shawna stopped to save the school from a fire. And his mom was like, oh really, wow. And they like treated me like I was a big deal. But then like a day or two later, I was in my room watching TV, and my mom came in and she was like, Shawna, the police are on the phone right now. And I was just looking at her, and she was like, did you do it? And I didn't even have to say anything. I just like looked at her, and she like knew, and she was like, oh my God, you did do it. And it was like the worst. The next couple weeks was like the absolute worst weeks of my life. They were horrible. But my mom made me confess. So we went to the school and I confessed, and then I got expelled. And then our lawyer was friends with like the superintendent or something like that. And they arranged for me to finish school from home. I didn't get to go to graduation. I didn't get to go to prom or anything like that. But I got to finish high school from home, basically. Which after like the first like month, my parents weren't really mad at me anymore. And schoolwork, if you don't have to go to school, schoolwork only really takes like 2 hours or maybe like 3 hours a day. So by the end of that time, it was like spring. I would be done with my schoolwork by like 10 or 11 a.m. And then I would just have the rest of the day to like hang out with older friends, or like just like, I don't know, do nothing really, just like hang out. I mean, I didn't really get away with that, but I kind of got off light. There is also at one point, apparently, I don't know when I did this, but I went to a vending machine and I got M&Ms. I think while I was like waiting for somebody to show up from the fire. And my friend, like, after I told them what happened, they like walked past the classroom, and I was standing there, and there was like smoke billowing out of the classroom, and I was just standing next to the door eating M&Ms.
So Shawna, how close are you to being done with your portrait?
I'm very close. So close. I can
Just adding the finishing touches?
Yeah, I'm doing the scales.
The scale?
Scale.
You're adding scale?
Absolutely perfect. This is exactly where we want us to be in terms of deep thought.
I think I'm done. I'm just taking off the tape that I was using to hold it down.
Excellent. Let's see your masterpiece.
Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
And I have to clap for that.
So great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful.
It's very interesting.
You're entitled to your artistic intent, Shawna.
I'd like us all to give a round of applause to our guest Shawna for being an amazing guest on tonight's show.
Thanks.
And Shawna, we wish you luck with all your future endeavors, and come on the show next time you have something happening.
And we'd like to end the show like we end every show, with a holding of hands. So Shawna, if you could join us and hold our hands. And we'd like to say thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Horace Filbourn Presents It's Friday. Please come back and join us next week with our special guest, Christopher Reber. Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Have a good one. Till next Friday.